The wind howled across the jagged cliffs as Michael Harding approached the island. A fog had settled over the sea, thick and clinging like wet cloth, and the rickety ferry groaned under the waves. The old lighthouse loomed ahead, its white paint peeling and windows dark, yet somehow, the lamp at the top gleamed like a watchful eye. Michael was the new keeper. The job had been posted quietly, with no questions asked. The previous keepers, 3 in the last decade, had vanished without a trace. No notes, no warnings, nothing. But Michael, desperate to escape the city and his own personal failures, accepted. The first night was eerily quiet. The lighthouse groaned as though it were alive. Michael lit the lamp as instructed, and the golden beam swept over the ocean. At first, he saw nothing unusual, just the endless waves glinting under the moonlight. Then he noticed a ship, though it looked centuries old, sailing silently through the fog. Its crew, ghostly pale, waved at him. Michael blinked, and it vanished. He shrugged it off as fatigue and old eyes playing tricks. But when he explored the keeper's quarters, he found the journals of his predecessors. One after another, they wrote about ghost ships, people who aren't there, and the oppressive feeling that the island watches. The last entry was a single sentence. They are waiting. The light draws them. The next evening, the light revealed more. A figure walked on the cliffs. An old woman in a tattered dress, staring at him. When he tried to approach, she evaporated into mist. Michael began hearing whispers at night, carried on the wind, half laughter, half pleading that he explored the island cautiously. There were ruins of old cottages, some half swallowed by the earth. In one, he found a journal belonging to the first keeper. The entries were full of paranoia. The island is alive. It hungers. I saw my brother in the waves. He was not him. He never was him. Michael laughed nervously. Superstition, he told himself. But as night fell, the lighthouse beam caught a row of ghostly figures on the beach. They looked like townsfolk from centuries past, frozen in silent agony, reaching toward the sea. Michael began researching the island by day, rowing to nearby rocks and scanning old maps. He learned the island had been a hub for shipwrecks, massacres, and disappearances over centuries. Every record mentioned a lighthouse, but never the same one. It was as if the island rebuilt it every time. That night, the fog thickened. As he lit the lamp, he saw dozens of ships, not one, but dozens, each filled with shadowy figures. Some waved, some screamed silently. One ship floated above the water, casting no reflection. Michael realized in horror, the light wasn't warning sailors, it was summoning them. The whispers grew louder, "Join us, stay with us, the island remembers." Determined to find answers, Michael explored the old ruins under the lighthouse. There, he discovered a hidden cellar filled with the belongings of the missing keepers. Their journals stopped abruptly, their clothes were neatly folded, but their bodies were gone. A chilling realization hit him: each keeper had been drawn into the lighthouse's beam, disappearing into some other dimension. And now, it wanted him. He tried to leave, but the ferry never returned. The sea seemed to churn unnaturally, waves colliding as if forming a barrier. Even the sky felt suffocatingly close, sleep brought no relief. Michael dreamed of walking among the ghostly crews, forced to sail endless oceans of mist. Each night, the light showed him visions of his past mistakes, his failed relationships, abandoned friends, and moments of cowardice. The lighthouse was not just haunted, it fed on guilt, fear, and despair. One night, a familiar face appeared in the beam. A younger version of himself, begging for help. Michael tried to reach him, but his arms passed through nothingness. The whispering voices were now clear: stay, or be forgotten. Desperate, Michael decided to destroy the lamp. If the light was the source of the curse, perhaps its destruction would free the island. But when he approached the mechanism, he realized it could not be touched by human hands. The beam seemed to fight him, shifting, bending, refusing to go out. In a final act of defiance, Michael climbed to the top and shone a signal toward the moon, hoping someone, anyone, would see. But instead of help, the ghosts began to swarm the lighthouse itself. Figures poured from the lamp, filling the walls with their silent screams. The lighthouse seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. Michael understood, the island was alive, feeding on keepers to sustain itself. It didn't want him dead, it wanted him a part of its eternal memory. As dawn broke, the ferry appeared in the distance, as if summoned by his signal. Michael ran to the cliff. But before he could leap, the whispers wrapped around him, cold and unyielding. His last thought, the light was watching, always watching. When the ferry reached the island, it was empty. The lighthouse stood as it always had, shining its golden beam into the fog, ready to summon the next keeper. Years later, another desperate soul would answer the job posting, finding the island just as Michael had. And somewhere, in the endless sea of fog, Michael's voice whispered, warning and tempting the next arrival. They are waiting. The light remembers. Do not look away.